She was still breathing when the rope burned tight around her ankle. Not screaming, not fighting, just short, broken pulls of air, each one sounding like it might be the last. Clara Wynne lay on her side in the open field, one leg twisted wrong, caught in a loop of coarse rope that cut into skin and cloth alike. The other leg shook without helping. It didn't come again. Noah Hart knelt instead, his back to the sun, dust clinging to his coat. He didn't touch her right away. He listened, the way men do when they expect trouble to answer back. No, she tried to say, but it came out thin and useless. Easy, he said. I see it. In the distance, hooves sounded once, then stopped. Her chest hitched. She dragged the words out like they were stuck on bone. Do it, she whispered. Then, weaker, hurry up. Noah didn't rush. He braced her leg, cut once, then again. The loop fell away. She gasped, a sound halfway between a sob and a laugh. And as he lifted her from the ground, Noah Hart already knew this wasn't the hard part, because whoever tied that rope was coming back, and next time they wouldn't come alone. Noah set the canteen within reach, then waited for her to choose it. He lifted her only after she said yes. Clara bit down so hard her jaw trembled. Cold sweat broke on her forehead, and her fingers gripped his sleeve like it was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. When the horse shifted its weight, pain flashed through her hip, and she held her breath until the black spots faded. Don't, she whispered. Don't take me back. Back where? Noah asked. Red Hollow? The name landed heavy. Noah didn't answer. He just angled the horse off the open line and into a shallow dip where the land folded enough to hide tracks. They reached his ranch near Fort Larned as the light softened. Noah carried her in and set her down slow, like every inch mattered. The next days were worse than the ride. The swelling did not quit. The bruising spread, and she did not stand without shaking. Weeks would pass before she could put full weight on that leg without biting back a sound. He kept his hands where she could see them. Didn't ask questions while she shook. When she finally spoke, it came out flat and tired. I heard things, she said. At the Rail Yard Saloon, names, horses that vanished, money that didn't. She reached into her skirt and pulled out a folded paper. He smiled when he had this. She said, That's why I ran. Noah read it once, his jaw set. That's not a warrant, he said quietly. That's a weapon. Noah looked up, and that was when he knew they were already being followed. Evening. A man called from the porch, calm, polite. Sheriff's business. Noah opened the door just enough to see him. Deputy Wade Kincaid stood there with his hat set right and his badge catching the lamplight. He smiled like they shared a memory. Didn't expect company, Noah said. Wade lifted a folded paper between two fingers. I'm looking for a young woman, he said. Ran off from Red Hollow. Thought you might have seen her. Noah took the paper, glanced once, then handed it back. This isn't right. Wade's smile thinned. He stepped forward like the answer had already been decided. Noah blocked him. The porch rail rattled as they hit, shoulder to chest. The lantern tipped, glass chiming as it went dark. Wade stepped back, and Noah saw it then. Fresh marks near the fence, a second set of boot prints. You live quiet out here, he said softly. Quiet doesn't mean alone. As Wade twisted away, Noah caught a flash of metal at his waist. Oh, Noah did not reach for a gun. He reached for the truth. His fingers hooked the edge of a small metal token and pulled it free in the same motion that kept Wade from shoving past him. Wade noticed too late. His hand went to his belt, and his eyes narrowed as he backed toward the steps. Inside, Clara recognized the mark at once. She'd seen it on sealed papers downtown. She had seen it pressed into wax at the land office, the kind of mark that meant money had already decided what was legal. That token wasn't dropped by accident. It was a message. If this is your kind of story, hit subscribe, pour a cup of tea, and tell me what time it is where you are, and where you are listening from, because what came next wouldn't stay quiet for long. They left before sunrise. Clara rode wrapped in a coat that swallowed her frame. Her injured leg stretched careful across the saddle, and the pain sat quiet but not gone. Noah rode with his head up, eyes moving the way he used to when the badge still meant something. The marshal, Owen Pike, listened without interrupting. He asked for dates, where she stood, what she smelled, how the paper felt between her fingers. He held the folded document up to the light, studying the seal, the ink, the hand that signed it. "This deputy's been circling trouble," Pike said finally. "Never close enough to grab, always close enough to scare." Noah noticed the birds. They lifted all at once, then went quiet. He pulled the horse down into a shallow cut just as the first shot cracked the air. Dirt jumped where they'd been a breath before. The return fire hesitated. Long enough. They moved low along the creek bed, using the curve of the land. One man rushed too fast. Noah met him hard and ended it clean. Another shot tore the brim of his hat. A second shot hit the dirt by his boot, close enough that pebbles stung his face. For a blink, the world narrowed. And even Noah felt how thin luck could get out here. Then the shooting stopped. The men faded back into the grass, leaving silence behind. Clara's voice didn't shake. "They knew where we'd be." Noah nodded. "Yes," he said. "And now they know I won't fold." By sundown, neighbors lined the fence, quiet, watching. Owen Pike arrived quietly with two men who knew how to stand still. They took positions beyond the corral, half seen, half guessed. The hooves came slow. Wade Kincaid rode through the gate like he owned it. Two men followed at a distance, no badges, hands loose, eyes working. Wade dismounted, straightened his coat, and held up the folded paper again. "Last chance," he called. "I'll take the girl now, and we can all go home." Noah stepped onto the porch. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't move aside. "You already tried," he said. "Didn't work?" Wade's smile slid away, so he stepped forward. One of his men shifted wrong. That was enough. "Freeze," Owen Pike called, lantern light flaring behind the corral. Everything broke at once. One hired man bolted, and a neighbor rushed to cut him off at the fence line. The other reached for his gun, and Owen Pike stepped into the open like a post driven into the ground. Noah collided with Wade hard, shoulder to chest. The shot cracked and splintered the porch rail, and the crowd flinched together, then leaned in instead of backing away. Noah drove Wade back with one clean hit and kicked the gun clear. Two men from the fence line moved in fast, not brave for show, brave because they were tired of watching good people get pushed around. Owen was there in seconds, hands fast, cuffs closing with a sound that carried across the yard. Clara stepped onto the porch then, wrapped in her coat, standing straighter than anyone expected. She stood straighter than her leg wanted to, and the tremor in her hands did not reach her voice. She held out the folded paper and the metal token. "This came from him," she said, "and from the man he answers to." The crowd leaned in. Wade didn't laugh this time, and for the first time the truth didn't have anywhere left to hide. Clara stood at the front with her hands folded tight, and she leaned slightly on the rail because her leg would not forgive her yet. The room was quieter than she expected. Faces she recognized from the saloon looked different in daylight. Some watched her, some watched the floor. A few stared straight ahead like nothing here concerned them. She told it plain, where she'd been standing. What she heard, the paper Wade carried, the smile that came with it. Her voice shook at first, then steadied, the way it does when there's nowhere left to retreat. Noah sat behind her, hat in his hands, saying nothing. He didn't need to. Wade Kincaid didn't meet her eyes when the paper was passed forward. The seal, the signature, the token with the matching mark, the pieces lined up clean enough that nobody could pretend not to see them. Guilty. Justice rarely gets applause in towns like that. It just settles into the room and makes people uncomfortable. Outside. Clara drew in a long breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. "I thought it would feel finished," she said quietly. Noah nodded once. "It never does. It just changes shape." A week later, a letter arrived at the ranch. Neat handwriting, polite words, an invitation to talk things through. The wax seal bore the same cattle mark stamped into the token Wade had dropped. Silas Crow. Noah read it, folded it, and set it aside. He did not sleep that night, because a man like Silas Crow did not send paper to ask. He sent it to measure how much fear was left in a house. "That's not an invitation," he said. "That's a warning." Clara looked out across the open land and understood something then. Stopping Wade had been the easy part. What came next would ask a different kind of courage. The days after the letter moved slower, then steadier. Clara stayed at the ranch, not because she had nowhere else to go, but because it was the first place where she was not treated like a problem to be passed along. She worked when she could, rested when she had to, learned the shape of quiet days in which silences were safe. Noah watched her change without naming it. He had stepped away from the badge years ago because he thought decency had lost, because fighting rot cost more than most men want to pay. But standing beside her reminded him of something simple and hard. You do not fix what is broken all at once. You fix it one choice at a time. By refusing to look away. Months passed. Clara learned the ranch work, mending, feeding, carrying water. One evening she asked why he had left the badge. Noah answered plain he got tired of losing to men who smiled while they stole. Clara nodded. She said she was tired of running. That was close enough to a promise. When they married, and it was small and honest. A few witnesses, plain words spoken in the shade of the cottonwood, no show, just a direction chosen together. The land stayed wide, money stayed loud, trouble stayed patient. But two people who had learned to stand no longer lived as if fear owned them. When was the last time you chose who you wanted to be, instead of what cost the least? If this one stayed with you, tap like. It helps more than you know. Stick around and subscribe for more stories about quiet courage and hard choices. Pour yourself something warm, let the night settle in, and drop a comment. Tell me what time it is where you are and where you are listening from, because it is never too late to stand up. And one honest choice can still change the rest of the road ahead.